I'm so excited for you all to be here tonight. My name is Kathy Archer, and I'm the director of the Goetemann Artist residency. And I was so excited looking down the hill this way and seeing all the cars come up and seeing the house that Hopper painted, then looking over here and seeing Nathan's work and seeing Lauren's work that was inspired by Nathan. It's so exciting. This program is just more than I could hope for. So I have to read because I'll forget. There's just so much. So pardon me for that, but each year our committee chooses 3 artists from a pool of applicants and gives each of those recipients 1 month free to work and live in our studio on Madfish Wharf. Besides those 3 artists, we also allot 1 month to a Gloucester artist whom the committee feels may benefit from some concentrated time and space to be creative. But the Artist Fellowship Program is the newest of our residencies. It's designed to bring art out of the studio and into the public realm for accessibility and education. Tonight we celebrate the Goetemann Artist Residency's first Artist Fellowship recipient, Nathan Thomas Wilson. Nathan's proposal was chosen unanimously by our committee of dedicated practicing artists, former director Ruth Mordecai, Christy Bernard, Jana Coffin, Anna Wojcik, Nadine Boughton, Connie Goldschmidt, and Barbara Moody. Once I did this and I forgot somebody, so if I forget anyone, throw rocks at me.
No, don't.
The intention of the fellowship program is to partner every year with other nonprofit organizations throughout Gloucester and ask artists to respond to the mission of that organization through an outdoor art installation. For this first year, our partner is Ocean Alliance, which has been so welcoming to us and to Nathan. The mission of the Ocean Alliance is to increase public awareness of the importance of whale and ocean health through research and public education, to advise educators, policymakers, and the general public on wise stewardship of the oceans, to mitigate pollution, prevent the collapse of marine mammal populations, and promote ocean and human health. No small task. A perfect partner, Ocean Alliance provided Nathan with space to work, storage for his tools, access to their building, and even made him a feature of their blog, documenting his progress through words and photographs. We want to especially thank CEO Ian Kerr for welcoming us, and to Mark Hayes, the CFO of Ocean Alliance, who made room in the parking lot for us, answered every question we had, and checked in constantly to see that Nathan was okay. Under duress, Mark even agreed to get up early and participate in a podcast early one Sunday morning. And now I'd like to ask Ian Kerr to say a few words about Ocean Alliance.
Okay, how long have we got?
Sun's going down.
So let's talk about biopersistent toxins and the slow permeation through cellular membranes of... Oh, that's a different talk.
Different.
No, honestly, what a real pleasure. I mean, I can't thank Kathy and the Goetemann Artist program in residence. You know, this is sort of why we bought this site. This is the whole idea. I keep telling people we're Ocean Alliance, it's not Ocean alone. And one story some of you know, but others may not. Roger Payne was the guy who discovered that whales sing songs. And why did he discover that whales sing songs? Because he was a musician. So often we talk about art and science, and it's so sad when they say, are you an artist or are you a scientist? And we have to sort of bring those things together. So we've been very lucky, starting with our our president, Roger Payne, being a musician, discovering that whales sing songs, and as I'm sure you know, a big part of what we do is communication and education. We've got to be talking about these issues, and not, dare I say, as some of my peers do, almost at the beginning of my talk, where you're all standing there drooling, saying, he might be a nice fellow, but I've got no idea what he's talking about. So honestly, thank you all so much. At my end, Rebecca, just come over here and stand with me for a minute. See, as any good CEO, just so you know, I take all the credit, and all my team members do all the work. So really, Rebecca's been the one with Mark. Been holding this together. And Rebecca manages, our art science collaborations, and I really hope, with Kathy, I really hope that this will be one of the first of many such instances. And as you can imagine, when Kathy came to me and said, can we start piling garbage in your car park? I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I only know Nathan from the abuse I throw at him every morning when I come into work, and he's taken that very well. But honestly, it's been a pleasure to have him here and see this evolve. So, thank you all. Rebecca, I don't know, you want to say?
You said most of it, but thank you everybody for coming. I think this is a real testament to our community and how important it is to collaborate. And this is, we started last year with Art and Science, really hit the ground running with North Shore Arts Association and Trident Galleries. Hi, Sarah. And we're continuing on. So please join us again and watch what we do next. And thank you so much. Thank you, Kathy. And I think we're ready to introduce
thank
Nathan.
You. Let's get out.
Thank you.
All right, so I'd like to introduce Nathan. Nathan Thomas Wilson is an artist and an educator. He was educated at Maryland College of Art, earned his MFA at the University of Pennsylvania, and a postgraduate diploma in visual arts from Goldsmiths College, London. He's earned numerous artistic awards, including the Lawrence Sprentz Award, and he's been nominated for an Alice C. Cole Scholarship from Wellesley College and a Joan Mitchell Award from the University of Pennsylvania. But beyond all that, as our first fellowship award recipient, he's been everything we could have hoped for. He's outgoing and entertaining, attracting people constantly who come to talk, visit with him, and watch his progress. He's captured the public's attention, garnering blog posts, 2 newspaper articles, and a podcast on Good Morning Gloucester with progress updates from the wonderful Kim Smith. Through his work, he's brought attention to the message of artistic inclusion that we promote here at Rocky Neck Art Colony, while helping to widen the educational scope of the Goetemann Artist residency, and for that we are extremely grateful. I'm very proud to introduce Nathan Thomas Wilson. All right, buddy.
It's all yours.
So, as Kathy pointed out, I really didn't do that much. Everybody else was taking care of all those media things for me, and I was just up here building a little fort, driving around on the beaches, picking up things. But that's kind of the point, right? Is there's all this stuff in the ocean. There's so many uses for a lot of it. And it's really easy to take a little bit of time out of your day, out of your schedule, and it can be really enjoyable to go down and collect this stuff. So this was just my tribute to how much stuff is in the ocean, but also how enjoyable it can be to actually build that into your life, where you are helping the environment by cleaning up a few things or reusing things instead of just throwing things out. And it's not that difficult. You can have a good time. There's a lot of people I need to thank, and I think I have to start with the Goetemann Artist Residency, or Fellowship, I should say. Kathy Archer and Ruth Mordecai were so good to me, and all the other people that came up here and saw me working all day and gave me food. Like, you know what? He's been up there for like 8 hours. I should probably give him some water. I really appreciated that. I'd probably be like the auk, I think, if that didn't happen. There's Mark Hayes, Ian Kerr, of course, from the Ocean Alliance, who have just basically given me run of the place. I asked for, you know, I want space, I want Wi-Fi connection, I want electricity, I want all this stuff, and they're just like, sure. So it was great. Every artist needs that kind of freedom, and I think every artist really relishes having that. So it's really a gift to be able to have that, the space and the time given by the residency and the space given by the Ocean Alliance. Now, the piece itself, I think, is obviously proposed in the spirit of the Ocean Alliance, to bring attention to how much stuff there is out there in the ocean, how we are basically polluting our oceans to the point where we are not going to have fish, we're not going to have sea life, we're not going to have life period on this planet if we keep dumping the kind of stuff that we're dumping in there and not start changing a few of our habits. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm going to go totally non-plastics and everything I use is reusable. That's great if you do that, but it's not realistic for most people. It's not realistic for me. But reuse what you can. You can do little things that add up to a lot. And if everyone does a little bit, then it's going to make a big impact. And I think that's the Ocean Alliance's goal, is to try to bring attention to that there's little steps that you can take. The sculpture is one of those little steps of reuse of materials and getting them out of the ocean, out of fish, out of the marine environment, get some of those toxins, pollutants, plastics out. But there's just so much of it. It's really overwhelming when you go down every day to the same spot and see it filled back up with trash again. So I'd just like to thank everyone who took me in to their homes, gave me food, asked, people were always saying, can I help you, can I help you? I just really appreciated that, and it was wonderful. So thank you, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
What made you pick the auk to create?
So I chose the auk actually because they used to summer here.
So many.
Yeah, like a lot of the folks here. So I actually, when I found out about this fellowship, I started researching. I knew there was a lot of history about the fishing industry and boat making industry, the paint factory, but I started looking into the pre-European history of the area, and there's a few archaeological sites I was able to find some information about, and all of them in the refuse piles mentioned auk bones from the Great Auk. And I'd heard that name before, but I really didn't remember much about it. So I started doing some research about the auk, and it really is an incredible species and a really good story of environmental protections over a long period of time that didn't go far enough to save the species. So dating back to like the 1500s, there was environmental protections put on this bird because they had gone extinct in northern Spain and northern France and other parts of northern Europe because they're using their feathers, their down, for mattresses, for pillows. If you had like a really nice pillow then, it was probably filled with like auk down. And they saw them disappearing, and so they said, and they were really easy to catch, and they realized that they were just going to totally be gone if they didn't do something. So they made it illegal to catch them for their feathers. They made it illegal to catch them for their oil, made it illegal to catch them to eat. But then they didn't make it illegal to catch them to use for fishing bait. So you could catch them, they're very easy to catch, and there wasn't a lot of stuff in the North Atlantic that was easy to catch. So they would catch them, use them to go fishing with. They also would catch them and herd them on the boats because they were, I guess you could just herd them up onto planks onto the boats, fill up the hull with them, and then since there were no trees in the North Atlantic, they just burned them alive to keep warm. And they would cook an auk in a pot with 2 auks underneath because they were full of oil. So they really were in the wrong place at the wrong time as far as when Europeans started traveling the North Atlantic. And they had a few spots. They only had a few breeding spots in the North Atlantic. So they would all go there in these huge colonies, and all the sailors would know where these breeding spots were because they'd stop there and get the eggs and get the auks to eat and stock up. So that's part of what made colonizing this country by Europeans viable, was that they had this food source and this fuel source in the North Atlantic, up in like Newfoundland, Greenland, Iceland. Does that answer the question?
How tall were they?
They were, I think, yeah, no, I think they were about 33 inches. They weren't really that tall, but there's little auks that are still around today that are only like this size, I think. Am I right?
Actually, I'm a whale guy. I
Yeah.
no idea.
So let's just go. I'm the pro on this now.
Nobody ever heard of them.
They've got blowholes in them.
Yeah.
So they're like this high? Like penguins?
Yeah, so they were the first species to be called penguins. So all the penguins in the southern hemisphere were named penguins after the auk, because they weren't discovered by Europeans until after the auk. Yes.
How is it going to affect your work going forward? Have you thought about that?
How is it going to affect my work?
Happened here. I mean, is this do you see this kind of continuing around endangered species, or do you see structure of this kind, or using refuse in the earth?
Yeah. So I have for a while now used found materials just for economic reasons. It just makes sense. If you're making work, making large-scale sculpture, why go buy new materials? There's tons of it out there. Am I going to continue making work about endangered species? Maybe. I've made work that's political in different ways, that is socially engaged in different ways, that is collaborative in different ways. You know, maybe this becomes a thing that I do more of. But honestly, I finished working on it about an hour ago, so I haven't really thought. My brain hasn't gotten that far ahead yet.
Where does it go next?
Next, it goes, I don't know. That's a good question. Unless someone wants to buy it, it will be taken down and recycled, and I will keep, the parts that are useful.
Have a program to save the auk.
Save the auk.
Yeah, save
Maybe
the.
we could finish the building behind it and put it in the building.
Yes, yes.
Raise the money for the building.
No. Actually, Nathan, if I could, were you surprised, as I've watched this grow, I'm just amazed by the variety of different materials. I mean, almost anything you can think of is out there. Were you surprised, if I could be blunt, how much different crap? I mean, you expect to find this and that, but pardon my that's a scientific word.
Yes, I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I studied a little bit of science in high school.
But, I mean, but were you amazed by just how much you could find, like, lying around?
I mean, yes. It's true. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, everything ends up in there, like everything. Tires, bags, hat. I found like 3 different hats that I was working with
Those are probably all mine. I've lost at least.
during the time.
I want to just say, one day I came in, it was really hot, and he was sweating, had on a really cool hat. I said, nice hat, where'd you get it? And he said, I found it.
Yeah, along with many other things. Yeah, it's like, what didn't I find? Like gas containers.
Did you find it right out here, or did you go out in the boat?
I didn't find it in a boat. I found it around Rocky Neck, and I found it up the coast in Gloucester towards Rockport.
You didn't have to look far.
Yeah, I didn't have to go far at all. And you can go back to the same place every day, and there'll be new stuff.
Wait for the tide.
Yeah.
What was the most unusual thing you found?
Let me think about that for a second. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. I found a bag from Spain. I don't know if that's unusual. A bag's not unusual, but like lots of chairs, balls, also, yeah, like all sorts of like piping, insulation foam, like pretty much anything that floats, especially anything that's foam or plastic, made it and crammed in the rocks, and you pull it out. Yes. Yes.
Walk in the sun.
I was just curious who did all your beautiful paintings with rock.
So that was someone I forgot to thank, and I'm so happy you brought that up. All of the paintings in the back is Lauren Doucette, who was like my energy the whole time I was out here. So she would be here. It was really embarrassing. She'd be here before I was in the morning. And she documented the process of making this through her drawings. And they're all over there to see. They're beautiful. And, you know, we fed off each other's energy, I think. And she gave me a lot of encouragement. A lot of, you know, peanut butter and jelly sandwich here and there.
You should call her up there. See her.
Oh, yeah. You want to come up?
I told him that I was going to talk for him.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk for me.
So I totally wasn't expecting to do this, but I can tell you that I was looking for something to sink my teeth into, and Mark was like, why don't you come try the paint factory and meet Nathan? And I showed up here and I was so inspired. I just couldn't even, I don't know. I was here every day when I woke up because I just couldn't. I was so attracted to the sculpture, the structure of it right from the beginning, that I just had to draw it every day. But I was so taken by, just really inspired by what you did. You know, and I really want to thank, you know, I think it's really cool that Ocean Alliance lets all these painters come here, you know, because I came here and there was other painters painting here, and that's beautiful, you know, and everyone came and wanted to know what we were doing, and that was kind of fun, you know.
Yeah. She would ward off questions for me. I'd be up on a ladder, hanging over, doing something really intense, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's doing this, and come to the opening on this day. This is what this thing is going to be." Because most people in the beginning, they would come up and be like, "You have a plan for this thing?" Yeah.
It was amazing to see the process from the beginning to the end. Just watching it grow and how determined he was during this process. I mean, really, it was so inspiring. And I think the residency, it just proves what an awesome thing the residency is, because it inspires community, you know? So he's kind of like new energy that came in and inspired the people that live here, and I think that's how it works. So, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lauren. We'll take 2 more questions. That sound good? Yes.
What is the head made out of? Because I'm seeing it with the sun coming through, and it looks like resin.
It is.
Look, did you create
So the head is made of fiberglass resin, like a boat. And what I did was I found sea foam and carved it into the shape of the head, and then that shrink wrap that people put on their boats in the wintertime, I found some of that and shrunk it around that, and then put the fiberglass resin over top of it with some other stuff I had or found, and cut it in half and fiberglass it back together again.
I love the lace.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Auk was known for its great lace making. Little known fact.
Is it a girl?
It's actually, a lot of people have asked that. It's actually not a girl. It is a boy, and it's only a boy because we came up with a name for it, and it's Ian the Auk with 2 eyes. No particular Ian with 2 eyes.
So it's a Scottish Auk?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And there were auks in Scotland. I don't know if you know that, but
I have one question. Is there any relationship between the Auk and Auckland in New Zealand, or is that the wrong ocean?
it is the wrong ocean, but I don't know if auk. So yes, I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There's a sea in Auckland.
Yes.
Can I just say for people here that might not know, if you want to be in touch with what the Rocky Neck Art Colony is doing, if you go to rockyneckartcolony.org, you can sign up for our newsletter and look at our calendar and see what's up. And thank you so much for this.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, one more.
Can you just say a few words about your plan and process and the architecture of getting them to stand up there and look so sturdy and stuff?
I worked from a couple loose sketches. I had the general proportions worked out, but I didn't know how big I was going to be able to make it because I didn't know how much material I was going to be able to find when I first applied for the residency. So I think on my application I said it would be at least the size of a full-grown auk, which is 33 inches. And then I came here and I was like, okay, I can make this thing as tall as this building. I have to cut it off somewhere. So what was the rest of the question? I'm sorry.
The structure and what's holding him up and stuff.
Oh, the structure. Yeah, the structure is there's some metal rods that run down into the ground. There's beams that are from part of the building that they tore down that you can see back here that run under it to make the main part of the structure. And all the plywood and stuff and all those other boards are things that I pulled out of the ocean. So it's really stable, and I'm pretty sure it could withstand a hurricane, although not positive. It'd probably lose some of those little pieces, but you know. Okay, one more.
What are you going to do with the auk now that he's done it?
Yeah.
Starting at $10,000.
Yes. Go it.
$15,000.
$10,000.
$25,000. 5,000.
The Ocean Alliance?
I don't think the Ocean
We'll
Alliance.
split it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have to work that out with Mark.
Well, good luck.
I mean, it should go to support.
Okay, well,
residency.
thank you so much, everybody who came out, everyone who helped out, everyone who just stopped by and said, this is awesome, keep going. I really appreciated it, and you made it such a great month to be here and work. And I was so happy to be here in this beautiful, beautiful spot working every day for the past month. It's just been amazing.
Well, what a success story. One more thing I wanted to say that Nathan had said to me was that he thought it was so great as an educator for people to know that anything can make art. So if you have children or grandchildren, bring them up before the auk flies away or walks away, because it's really entertaining for them to know and educational. And then also the Goetemann Artist residency has our distinguished artist teacher, Clara Liu, who teaches at RISD. She's doing a course for us in August, a 4-day course. And then in September and October, we also have artists who will be in our studio at the Madfish Wharf. So please stop in and see them if you have the time. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.